Hey everyone, it's Jim Rigney here. I just wanted to quickly introduce myself. Eric is tied up backstage in one of the lounges, still answering questions from his first session. So I guess I gotta come out and do the solo intro for myself. A lot of our earlier members in the Convertri group may be familiar with me, and did an early webinar with the Convertri folks on agencies. And that went over pretty well. So when Daren actually had the idea behind this user group summit, and he asked me to participate, so I jumped on it. I really thought it was a great idea. And then with Eric's help and his presentation, this AirMeet platform, it's really come together really quickly. So a little bit about myself, why you should listen to me. I've been with Convertri since 2016 when they first launched, and jumped on the agency really quickly afterwards. So I was one of the earlier agency power users, I guess you could say. And over the last 4 or 5 years, probably accumulated close 6 figures on the side in part business. I am a full-time corporate in the corporate world, so this is a part-time job for me on the marketing side that I eventually hopefully would make it full-time. So, but I thought it'd be good for me to share some of my experience with you, some of you guys just starting, or maybe some of you that have been with Convertri for a while and just kind of want to take that next step. Or, Convertri is a powerful tool, and I think they do a great job of showing you the nuts and bolts and X's and O's and how to make pages and how to do everything. But it's like, I think the gap, at least according to the Convertri team, is how do I take this wonderful tool and actually make money with it? So I think with the help of Eric, myself, and Daren, showing maybe some of the ways that we've done it, that might be able to help you get over the hump a little bit. So what I thought I would do is kind of walk through how I built a website, and I'll start with ones I just recently finished, so you can kind of see something that's fresh with some of the new tools that Convertri use. Because I used to build websites before they had the header footer, and before they had the menu, and so I had to come up with my own workarounds and HTML. I'm not a developer by no means, but kind of figure out workarounds with some of the people in the group, and just some Googling, and I did some HTML workarounds, iframes, all those kind of things, and it worked, but it's so much simpler now. They've really made it so much easier with some of these new features. So we'll definitely cover that. And then I thought I didn't have it on my agenda on this session, but I thought because I just got done listening to Eric and some of his great advice on blogging, I would share a few things with you right out of the gate, since it's fresh off of his session, and then we can go back and do some of the stuff that I had planned. But just to give you a background, the website I'll talk through it as I share my screen here. So let's see if I can make this work. Hopefully you are seeing my Convertri back office right now. So before we get into this particular site, I thought I would share the blogging side of things. So this is a site you may have seen me share in the group. And again, I don't want to make you guys sick by scrolling, but you get to see this page. And this is roughly, I would say, about a $5,000 page. I do a lot of services for these guys. This is a national site for me, and it has got like 5 or 6 different studio accounts. It's kind of cool too. I got to work with somewhat of a celebrity that was on all the major networks you can see here. But I got this actually through a connection that I was doing another site for. So it was a referral. So that's a great that's a great way of getting new business. But this I wanted to show you is kind of one of those hybrid sites that Eric was talking about. This is a Convertri front end. A lot of the pages are Convertri. But if you go over to the blog, this is actually a WordPress site, and you can see I tried to make it as seamless as possible, but this is all housed on WordPress. So and I'm not, just so you guys know, I'm not as seasoned as Eric on the webinars page, so I'm not going to be able to keep up with some of your comments and questions. So I will, I'll have to do that hopefully now right after the session and throughout the summit here. But anyway, this blog is on a WordPress site, and also this podcast is on a WordPress site. So he has a nationwide podcast, 70 episodes. So we just update the site and host those on another WordPress site. To give you another hybrid of a blog, one of their locations have hired me separate to build their own website, and this is one of the Virginia locations. I built a little bit of a slide thing here that we can go into, maybe give you some details on how to do that. But what I wanted to show you here is the way they do their blog. I do this all on Convertri. So if you click on the VA blog, what I do is I put it in a page like this. So every time they have a new blog, I just grab all this information, pull it down, and put the new one on top, put a little bit of a snippet here, and then you can kind of scroll through all their blog posts, which are all on Convertri. And again, I wouldn't recommend this if you're blogging every week or something, but they're blogging once every few months or two, and then sometimes there's even longer periods. But if you click on the image or click on read more, then it goes to an individual blog page, again on Convertri, and it lays out a whole complete blog. Again, I'm probably you guys all dizzy with the scrolling, so I apologize. But I just wanted to kind of cover blogs real quick, since that was the last topic that Eric covered. I thought I would throw my 2 cents in, but I agree with him. I've kind of, unless I have to, and it's going to cost somebody a lot of money for me involved with WordPress, because it's just my concern is just keeping up with the themes and the plugins, and worry about security, and it's just there are always updates and there's changes and stuff. Convertri is just so easy to deal with that I've kind of just dropped it. And doing some of these updates and blog posts are part of my hosting and maintenance fee that I charge a client. And depends on how many they do, depends on how much the charge is. But typically, bottom line, I charge somebody when I do a website $50 a month or $500 a year hosting and maintenance. And they're basically buying about 10, 12 hours of my time. So there's really almost like a retainer. So if that time goes down based on low maintenance or up, I adjust that charge. So, all right. So let's jump back into Convertri. So I thought what I'd do is just kind of walk through a site in how I approach it, and maybe that might help you. I think different perspectives with, having Eric and Dan and I and Daren all giving you our perspectives on how we approach things. It may resonate with you and help you in your journey. So this is, to begin with the end in mind, this is the new site that I just launched for a lawyer. You can see it has, I think, all of about 15, 16 pages. Couple of tricks I can show you along the way, but the site is basically a $2,500 site with, again, the hosting and maintenance being around $600 a year. So gives you an idea of what you can make on a site. Nothing super fancy about this one. The only thing is this something I can show you that I did as a rollover type feature, where it goes into each one of the areas. This might be a good strategy for you if you're doing that Q&A section. I know we've had a lot of questions about the accordion. Click on something and it opens up. This may be an alternative for you, where you can do a rollover for help and question, and it gives you all the answers that you need over there on the right-hand side. But yeah, so that's probably the only thing fancy about this one. It's a little tricky on how you set it up, but it's something anybody can do. I threw a little slider in there for their testimonials, and that's about it. So this is what I thought I'd do with you and give you some insight on how I approached it. And just to give you, again, most of my stuff is going to be in how to monetize it, how to get clients. I think that's something that's it's important for everyone. I wanted to show you that website was a referral through this group. I joined this group a couple years ago. It's a local like networking type group. First thing I did is they needed a marketing guy. They only have one person per like industry or whatever. So I'm the marketing guy in the group. First thing I did is I volunteered to build a website. So this has kind of grown. Here's all of the individual people in the group. Here's all the businesses. I guess to backtrack just a little bit, I won't take, but this is the referral site that I was referring to earlier.
Again. If you just go, we can see your screen now. That's totally good.
Okay. This is the site that I built for I assume that you could hear me the whole time. So just to backtrack a little bit, this is the site that I built for, and I'd be happy on some of these sites. Obviously, I'd be happy to send some share codes your way, you guys, if you're interested. So you can maybe grab a local network group yourself and kind of plug and play. Hopefully, change a few things for me so it doesn't look exactly alike. And going back to the blog, this was let's go back to the main page. This is the main, like I said, some of you have probably seen this in the group when I've shared it, but this is about a $5,000 site with ongoing residual monthly maintenance. Their blog is on WordPress, so this is all hosted on WordPress, just to give you an idea what the look is. They have a podcast that's on WordPress. And then, let me see, where was I going to... If I go to locations here, this is that Virginia site that I'm doing. This is they've hired me to do that specific site. And then the blog is, I've set it up like this so that you can see all the different blog posts. And if you want to see a specific one, then you click on read more, and it would take you to that specific blog post. So, yeah, I'm not sure what happened with the screen share, but I apologize about that. So let's go back to the building the site. I was down to the menu. Here's where I clone the text, and you can see the background here. And that's kind of a way to make it kind of shadow, make it pop. So when you put it over the top of it, you can see the little bit of shadow around the text. That's something I do quite often. And just to cover real quick, this picture I grabbed off of the Pixabay. If you type in legal here, Pixabay, you can see a lot of different images. I got this one off of Pixabay, and then I just take the banner here, or what do they call it, the panel. And the panel is... Here's where you can change the opacity of the panel. You can see the picture, what I thought you were seeing before, but didn't. And you can also change it here too. Say if I want to make it 50%, I can make it 50% there. Or I can make it 75. All right, so I think I covered in a matter of 3 minutes what we've been reviewing for the first 10, 20 minutes of my presentation. I apologize. I assume that we're still sharing okay. All right, let's cover the menu. Menu is something I build right out of the gate. Sometimes you may not know all the pages yet, but that's okay, because you can go back and do it. But just so you know, if you change the menu or change the footer, you will need to go back and publish every page after you make the change. That's why I try to get the header and footer in place right away. I mean, I've got 16 to 17 pages on here. So to republish all of them, it takes me probably a good 5 minutes. It's not that big a deal. It's just pain. If you make a change, you have to go back and adjust it each time. So you can see menu properties. This is where you basically set your background of the menu. If I want to make the background, this is where I would set it. And it took it. Text color obviously is the text color. Let me see. So menu items. Here's where I set up my menu. if you see here, when I build a site, typically I'm building it on another site, and then we go live on the actual domain. So it's important when you put these links in here that I don't put the whole domain in here. I'm just putting the home page is just /, and you'll see attorneys here. Let's go to services. So if you look here on submenu, if I look at the links for each of these submenus, I just put the page name, right? I don't want to put Pruitt Law Offices / the page name, because initially I'm not working on their domain, I'm working on a different domain. So whenever I flip domains and I change this funnel over to a different domain, when I republish it, it's going to put the new domain and then this page. So it's a lot less maintenance when you flip a site over from the development site over to the new domain. Mobile. I wanted to show this feature here. Right now, you can this call now button is not shown on desktop. But if I want to update it or edit it, I'd have to go click it on desktop and then I can see it. But if you ever want to put a feature on mobile or on desktop and don't want it to show on the other, like a call now push button is great for mobile, but don't really make a lot of sense on desktop. So I create the call now button and I take it off my desktop. So when I go over to my mobile view, it's there and I can put it in place, put it where I want, move it around, make it smaller, make it bigger, and we'll center it like that. That's a great tool that Dan showed you multiple times when he's building this page. I center everything, make it look good. And then what I wanted to talk to you about here is the header. See, I have the menu. I have the menu here. It goes all the way across. So whenever I preview, actually, let's do this. So when I click on this, it shows me, it goes down the side of the page, right? So if I would change this, it's gonna go wherever you put it. So say if I put it in the middle, whenever I preview this, if I can find it. Sorry if I'm making you guys sick from all the screen movement. Again, I'm kind of a rookie when it comes to the webinar stuff. So when I click on it, see how it's going to go wherever you end that menu section. So close the view. So that's important to understand. The other thing is to when you're setting up your so I'll stretch it out there where I want. I get my header in place. Whenever you're setting up your properties, see, I've got the background in my menu transparent. If I would make that something else, I don't think it really affects it on the mobile menu. But since I have it transparent, I put this black bar behind it because I have the white text and it really helps make it pop. So I always make my menu, the background transparent, and then I usually have another bar over behind it that actually makes it pop, like you can see here. So that pretty much takes care of the menu, the header. So let's get out of here. If it will leave. And then I do the same thing basically footer. For some reason, I don't know why, but the footer I sometimes don't do right away. I always do the header, but the footer, but I suggest probably doing them both. Same thing, I got the picture underneath, the opacity at a 78%. And then what I do, and this is kind of a little tip for you, is I put it's a local business, so I put their Google My Business map link. So if you go to their main website, go down to the footer, if I click on this, it opens their Google My Business. And this is really good for local SEO. So if you're working with a local client, that's good to actually have. And another trick is always have it open up in a different tab, because when somebody is looking around, I want to find out where you're at and all those kind of things, and then they close this, they come right back to your website, where if you don't have it open to another tab, you kind of lose it. Let me check to make sure I'm still sharing okay. Okay. So it's pretty much the same thing for the footer. They just walk and look at everything. I think Dan showed you the privacy statements, how to lay it out. I always put a link to my local business, so I get all those backlinks as well. But I put usually a link. I have a link to their Google My Business page on this, and a link here, and then I have a link. I don't know if you guys have seen that before. Probably, I would think you would. But if you do this TEL : and then a telephone number, if you click on that link, it will, on mobile, it'll open up your phone app, and that way you know somebody can call you right from there. So that's a great thing to do. So, all right. So I think I got about 15 minutes here, so we'll crank along here. So I'm going to go to pages. And let's go to the home page. I probably won't go into the individual pages, but I do the same thing. I think Dan showed you how you create a home page, and then you clone it, and then you create the other pages. That way you have all the same formatting and everything. And whenever you clone, you always have to go up here to your page. One, set your meta. Make sure your page title is associated correctly for the pages. Make sure you have a good description, keywords, and then the header footers. You have to click every time you clone a new page. It doesn't automatically grab the header footer, so you have to click on these to use the header and the footer. The other thing I like to make sure I have is a nice social media page, and obviously that probably will change with every page. So if somebody shares it, you have a nice preview of what's on there. Tie any of their social media together, and where's the visual styling? Always make sure you have, I like to have a favicon. You can see up there. I just did like a little legal scale. They didn't have really a logo, otherwise I'd have put a logo in there. You can see up here, the Inform Fitness has the little clock logo, so I put that there. But I think it helps, those little details really help pop things out. So so nothing fancy here. They wanted a link to their local chamber of commerce. So again, I think one of the tips I would suggest, always have it open. If you go outside the site, always have it open in a new tab. That way they don't go away from your website and forget where they were at. Another thing I like to put in, I think is kind of cool. If you haven't used it, you can see as we go, this picture and also the one up here, as you go over the page, the picture stays steady as you scroll up and down. It's not really a parallax that you would probably see maybe in a WordPress plugin or theme or something, but it's very similar. And if you click on the picture and you go to positioning, I believe. No, it's not positioning, properties. I've been using this a lot, and you can say I see I have to plug, pop around to find what I need. It's this fixed background. So if I click off of this and you see the picture moves with the scroll. If I click fixed background, it stays still while I move, and it, as a background picture, it really pops. It really is pretty cool. All right. I did the same thing here. Again, instead of a blue, I did a real white, real low level. What did I use? 70% of pure white. It comes through, and So this is the feature that I think a lot of you might be interested in. So how in the world did I do this? Back in the days, it was even harder because you had to use forms, and you had they had a lot of triggers and behaviors, and they continue to build this platform into an amazing tool. And now it's even easier. So when I roll, let's go back up to this feature, down to this feature. So when I roll over estate planning, this estate planning box comes up. So how's that happening? So if I click on estate planning, it's actually this panel or estate planning, because as soon as I enter that, I want it to pop. What I do is I go down here to actions and events. When I enter into the estate planning box will be shown. So the box that you're seeing now, let me see, is other legal services. So what you have to do under properties is you have to name each one of these boxes. So let's actually use that one, since that's the one that's showing right now. So this box is called other legal. So when I'm clicking, if I roll over this and go to actions and events, when I enter it, I'm going to hide everything else except for other legal services. So shown, so everything else hides, but this shows. So where are all the other boxes at, you ask? This is what's kind of painful. If you have like 3 or 4 of these, it's not too bad, but I think I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them, so it got a little tricky. So you got to think out of the box a little bit with boxes. As you can see, other legal services, this page is named, dang it, it's the only thing, if you click on the wrong thing, sometimes it won't let you get away from it. But this is named real estate, and the same thing goes for this. If I'm clicked on this box, just to give you actions and events, oh, because my action events aren't on the box, it's on this box. So I hide estate planning, hide family law, hide all this. And if you go down to the real estate, right here, real estate shown, everything else is hidden. So I had to create each one of these boxes, and then after I created them, you can see you have to like throw these all over the place so you can get to all the boxes. And then say you want to put it right back to where it belongs. So I position the first box where I want it, and I go over here to position, and I look at my positions, 400 by 1298. So if I click on this box and I make this 400 by, what did I say it was? This is a bad, I lost my memory, 1298. So let's go 400 by 1298. You see each one of these boxes, if you click on these boxes, each one of these are hidden. So they're hidden, and I don't show them until I roll over something, and then I have to rehide it. So if I go to each one of these boxes and make it 400 by 98, I kind of messed up my boxes. I kind of moved them around or whatever, but you get the idea. You have to keep everything inside the box. You move the box, and then everything moves with it. What was I gonna say? So they're all hidden, and then here's what I also did. Let's move this one back in. Position 400 by 1298. Well, of course, it's not cooperating now. Anyway, you get the gist of it. It actually moves into position. So what I want to do is I get my screen back over there now that I've expanded it. guess you could always cheat and reduce your screen size. Make sure I'm still sharing. Yes. So we got about 5 more minutes here. What I do is I put this box around everything. So if I go in between the boxes or out of the box at any point in time, this box basically, if I go to actions and events, this hides everything. This is one of those last touches that I had to do because it was being a little flaky if I went too quick, or if I didn't roll over the right section. I'd have 2 boxes show up at once. This will solve my problem for me. So I put this hide box all the way around everything, and so it kind of covered anything that I possibly missed. But it does actually work out really pretty good. So it just kind of shows. I've done this on a few other things as well. I think if you go back to the Informed Fitness page, I did the same thing with timing. You can do a timed box, and I did it with this gym section where this is before we had carousels. I put this little time page, and I had to put all these boxes, make all these boxes the same size, which is again using that positioning tab. And I actually use Usign a lot for my image, or my to do all my images on my website. So making all the images the same size in preparation. So you can see here I've got this on a timer. Refresh this page after the people are on this website for I think 10 or 15 seconds. That bar comes up. This is something I pushed Convertri for quite a while to give me a sticky footer, because I thought this bar thing, there's other software that does it, but I thought that would be something that would be handy. See, it's up here at the bottom. So it's a nice way of kind of sticking out. So if somebody comes over here and clicks on it, it can it pops up and asks them a question. So Convertri is the biggest tool in my toolbox. And get out here. It's kind of messy. That's why I wanted to do a backup, and I highly recommend you back up your funnels, back up your pages on a regular basis. If you give clients access to them, make sure you not only back them up, but back them up to a different sub account or your main account, so that they can't screw it up. It'll probably make you money, because they'll probably screw something up and you'll have to restore it, and you can charge them for it. So I always warn them against it. And I'd say 90% of my clients always just hire me and do hosting and maintenance and say, hey, I'm not going to be in there long enough to really, learn it. This is the only other thing that I see with this. I probably should change these rollovers to not actually be a different color, because if you go too quick, you can see how they don't have time to respond. If I go slow, it's nice. But if you're like me and you're whipping around the mouse quite a bit, you can lose that. So I think I'm gearing down a little bit. So let me stop. This is the first time I'm actually looking in the chat box. All right, let me look. A lot of yeses. Again, I really apologize for the technical issue here of not showing my screen. Jim, look at the chat. The problem is I'm sharing the same screen that I should have probably put. Sorry, I muted for a minute. My dog's trying to kill the mailman. I apologize. Part of the live, wonderful live session. Okay. So you did see a little bit at the beginning. I probably should have. Yeah, you can use collections. I saw a few comments about using collections. That's an awesome tool. You can add menus, headers, footers. that's the other thing too. I do, if I have a couple headers I like, I add those to my collections, and then I can add them on a different page. Favicon size, small. It just has to be square. It's really better if you can do a square. I always like to take the background out of the logo so it really pops, unless it's a logo that you need a background on. But yeah, somebody answered that. I think 500, Daren. Thank you. But yeah, I think you can make it any size as long as it's square, and it'll scale it down to where it needs to be. So I appreciate the other guys in the chat room answering questions for me. I really appreciate that. That's great. So let me go to the bottom. Okay, input that the clients had. I try to get as much input as possible. A lot of times I ask them, why don't you shoot me a bunch of pages that you like and what you like about them? And we don't copy those sites, but we model our stuff out of those sites and maybe change colors and maybe change a few things. So usually a client site is made up of multiple pieces of different sites that they like, and I try to put it together and make them happy. But yeah, there's a lot of feedback. That's why I usually charge them like a fee to get started, and then at the end of the homepage development, that's where they get the second fee, and that's where this collaboration occurs, right? The 500 or so to get started just has me basically tell them I have to pay for some of these, accounts and setups, and it helps me cover some of those costs while we're developing it. And then the homepage is really where it happens. That's really where you're setting up the headers, the footers, the structure, the look, the feel, all those kind of things. That's the magic. And then once you do that, you're just cloning that page, and it makes it a lot easier to put content in. But I would highly recommend that you, again, use a common folder. And this site was I probably should have charged them more because it was a lot. They would give me information, and then they would give me on the information they give me. So I told them, I said, it's going to, we'll do this a couple of times, but any more than that, I'm going to have to probably charge you because, I'm putting in the information you give me to begin with, and I'm editing the information that you had. So why don't you make sure you go through all your information before you get it to me? That way we can make sure we put it on, and we only do it once. So, can you use personal images with Convertri? I'm assuming you mean images, their own pictures, their own stuff. Yeah, I would highly recommend. I prefer that. That way I don't have to worry about any legal issues with using a copyrighted image. Pixabay is great source. I have a stock unlimited folder, but stock images aren't as good as if you get, original images. So I'd highly recommend them giving you images. What I usually do is I have a Dropbox account. I think it costs me $12 a month for 2 terabytes. They have a request files option in that. And what I do is I send them an upload link, and they upload everything to that file. And that gives me an opportunity to just go right in there and use their information. So thank you, Daren. Appreciate you think I'm a sexy man. Let me see. Anything else? What I will do, if we ever sketch out a page first, working with sections to add. I don't typically, I'm not an artist. I don't really sketch anything out. It's so quick you've seen Dan, how fast Dan built a page. If you do this on a regular basis, you can build a quick page. In fact, that's what I do for new client opportunities is I'll go to their website, grab their logo, I'll grab some content off their page, and I'll build a new page. Or I use the fabulous Convertri importer tool, import their old page, change a bunch of stuff off of it because I have the pictures when I import it, and kind of make an update. And then I even sometimes run their page against the new page on a speed test to show them how much faster it is. All that takes me less than a half hour, and it's won me a lot of business just to kind of lead with the results in mind. You give them everything you need. It's Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, again, Convertri has put so many opportunities in front of me that I wouldn't have had if I didn't have Convertri to begin with. So I know this is a Convertri user funnels. Most of the people in here are using Convertri, so I'm not trying to sell it to you. So it's just my own personal testimony. It's become a platform way more than just the tool that I initially bought. So it's really me a lot of money on top of it. And I would suggest that, it's like whenever you get started, you don't want to go after big clients right away because you need practice. So how do you get practice? Go after some of the smaller clients, the local businesses, churches, whatever. Offer to do free work. What I do a lot of times is I offer either bartering, or you offer build a page for them, and you want to just tell them you're trying to build your portfolio, and you usually charge $1,000 for a website, but you'll waive the development fee if they pay hosting and maintenance. So you build a couple of those at $50 to $60 a month. You just paid for your Convertri cost right out of the gate. So make that your first goal, is start building your portfolio with those type of clients, and then get your Convertri stuff paid for right away. And then you don't have everything on top of that's just going to be, right to the bottom line money that you make. So I don't see any more questions coming right now. So what I'll do is I'll go over to the lounge. I'll hang out for about 10-15 minutes or so, see if anybody else has any specific questions, and answer them over there. So I hope that this helped you. I look forward to talking a little bit more about monetizing Convertri and maintaining, continue to scale up your client base, and using it, all the options there's so many different ways you can go with it, but that's why it's nice to have multiple speakers here. You can see different ways that we've used the tool to monetize it. So, but I hope that helps, and I will sign off here, and we'll see you tomorrow. And I think I'm in session 2 tomorrow. So thanks again.